Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's program. I'm Mike Nelson, and whoops,
You're on the wrong side. I'm over here.
This is Steve Richard, and we're glad you could join us for the next 30 minutes. You're going to see the feature race highlights of the John Auto Parts Pure Later late models, Pro Stocks, Riverside Bilo Street Stocks, and the Pure Stocks that took place from our commercial credit presentation of our NASCAR Winston Racing Series. 4-division action took place on Saturday, August the 6th. Now, going into this week's program, each and every week we talk about Tom Erickson. Oh, he'll be back. Talk to Carner, he'll be back. Talk to Tom, he'll be back. He hasn't been here.
Guess what?
But tonight,
he's here. Yes, I'm all fired up.
Well, I'm fired up too, because we bring this to the attention of the viewers because Sergeant Charlie Cragen has been the dominant driver in Western Pennsylvania. He's got, I believe, 7 wins at the Lower Highlands Oval, and then we have a slew of drivers with 1 win each. But yes, Erickson's the only driver behind him with 3, and he has a chance to get up there and wrestle for that checkered flag.
That hot. The black number 36 is one of the hottest cars on the track. Gary Ballou had it for our National Late Model Invitational back in July. Unfortunately, they had mechanical problems, but Gary did quite well with it in the area the next day. And it would be nice to get Tom back in the car. I know he's going to pressure Cragen for any kind of a checkered flag tonight. It's going to be interesting racing. With the likewise of Glenn Galt is here as well. In the previous night's racing, Glenn Galt, Sergeant Charlie Cragen involved in an incident. Motor Drum Speedway, we'll have to see if that has any bearing on what happens tonight as well.
We'll be watching that, and the fact that Erickson right out of the box, so to speak, with that broken shoulder last night at Motor Drum, finished second, so he'll be one to watch as well. Stay with us. We'll be back with all the racing action just right after these messages.
Cruise into your local Chevrolet Geo dealer now for the all-new Camaro.
This is KAPZ News. I noticed its spaceship-like design.
I'm strangely attracted to it.
I said, Vern, that is not a pizza.
Introducing the Pizza Hut Bowlie. Pizza toppings, cheese, and sauce in a mysteriously tasty crust. Now 1 Bowlie is $4.99. Bowlie, it's out of this world.
I believe it was brought here as a sign of peace.
Oh. Bowlie, reportedly seen in meat.
A career that's in demand, consider training as an automotive technician. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, demand is rising for skilled automotive technicians. National education centers can train you to become part of this growing field. You'll learn how to diagnose and repair today's complex mechanical and electronic automotive systems. Everything you need to get started as an automotive technician. This is a great career. Call NEC's Vail Technical Institute campus today. Call 1-800-722-7337. 1-800-722-7337. Call now.
Hello there, we're back with our first event on Chase to the Checkered this week, the commercial credit. 15 Circuit Main for our entry-level division, the Power Division, Pure Stocks. There's the field down the back straightaway. Steve Marino, we post the top 3 rows. Take it over, my friend.
In the front row, Linda Schwab and Brian Thomas. Behind them, Aaron Will, Mitzi Shawla, Scott Kokenauer, and Mike Backel, 2 of our female pilots in the front 2 rows tonight. Pretty good chance for a good finish for both of them as the pace car will bring the field out of turn 4, pull off down into the pits. Ron Brutt will drop the green flag. We're going to be up to speed in racing, and watch this. Here comes Linda Schwab. Let's go to the call.
And Linda Schwab gets a jump on the field. How about that one, race fans? Down into turns 1 and 2, she holds on to the lead. A little smoke from some brakes or tires or whatever. Or maybe somebody needs a ring job on one of those engines. Down the back straight, 3 wide, the middle of the pack. Look at this. Look at this in the middle of the pack. We're 3 wide. Still looking up front. Linda Schwab holds on to the lead. Brian Thomas on the outside. Aaron Will down the low side. Aaron Will shim-shamming, going back and forth, wheeling, pitching. Down into turns 1 and 2. This 77 of Mitzi Shaw is fighting out 4 automobiles, all grouped up in a Talladega draft in this battle for the bridesmaid spot. Down the back straightaway. Aaron Will breaks loose for the 2nd place position. Oh, I think Mr. Announcer missed Dan Campbell up there spinning sideways. He almost contacted the outside retaining wall, but we continue this. Look at the grooves we're establishing. There's an opening, and Mitzi Shawless is trying to make it through. It's 3 wide, Steve. That determined young lady in there in the 77 automobile. And look at Bacalon get crossed up in front of her. Down low is the 5 of that Barry DeSalve Jr., who won a few weeks back here at Jennerstown. And now they're beginning to separate out a little bit, but they're still using all those different grooves.
And it's still Linda Schwab at the point position. Matter of fact, she's pulling away from the field a little bit. We're only a few laps into the event. As a matter of fact, on lap 4, we had an incident. And here's what happened on the front straight. The wild man, Rick Ackerman, spins the car, but it's going to be a self-clearing accident. He'll just kind of swing out and tack onto the back of the field, and we will restart the event. And the question is, can Linda Schwab do it again? Well, this is the restart, and here comes Terminator 2. Scott Kokenauer hot on her bumper. Linda Schwab does manage to hold on to the point. Barely. Oh, well, doesn't have to lead
it's all
anymore.
over. The dream is gone. We've garbage disposal the dream as Somerset, Pennsylvania's Scott Kokenauer to Jim's Auto and Truck Stop 19 will take over the lead down the back straight. You know, Linda Schwab, this was a first for her leading the events, and she's still hanging it out there on the low side, doing well, trying to hold on to the third place position. Aaron Will gets by for the bridesmaid spot, and that Penn State engineering student will set his sights on Kokenauer. Look at this block of automobiles now haunting the back bumper, not Mount Nebo, Pennsylvania's Linda Schwab. Here comes Backlon up to the outside.
And just behind him, the Cobra, Mark Corden as well. Although Linda Schwab doing a pretty good job right now holding them off on the point position. It continues to be Terminator 2 Scott Kokenauer, the pilot from Somerset, looking for another win this year. He already has one in this division.
Well, still with this contention on third through what seems infinity, we're 2 by 2 all stacked up in this battle for that third, fourth, fifth, sixth, you name it, they're out there. Look at the 30 of the Cobra. He's always a hot runner in this division. He's all boxed in. Backlon out there. He's a rookie. He's trying to get around Schwab's automobile. He's been doing this lap after lap, and you've got Brian Thomas there in the 27. That's the car at Motordrome run by the flying sign painter, Dave Burnell. He's stuck in the middle of things. Here comes Barry DeSelve with that white automobile down to the low side.
Whoa.
And now the 93 automobile. That car, Dan Campbell's trying to make it through here. He's able to get by those automobiles, but we move ahead in the event.
There's just 2 laps to go in this event, and as the field comes down the front straight into the first set of turns, it is the Terminator 2 Scott Kokenauer on the point. We're looking at the number 5 of Barry DeSalvo right there, working for position number 4. But right now, Mr. Kokenauer has his hands full. This is going to be an interesting finish, Mike. Let's take it to one final last call.
The white flag, 1 lap remaining. We've got a horse race for the lead. And dive into turns 1 and 2. Who's it going to be, race fans? Kokenauer, Terminator 2 hangs on to the lead. Campbell tries high. Gordon tries low. Kokenauer gets the advantage by those 2 drivers fighting it out for second. We work into turns 3 and 4. Out of 4, the checker on the commercial credit. 15 lap main event for the Pure Stocks goes to Scott Terminator 2 Kokenauer. Terminator 2 visits victory lane for win number 1, 2, 3. I think it is,
I believe,
Steve
yes.
Areno. In this commercial credit, that's 15th circuit, 25. These guys would be there with their tongues hanging out after that. 15th circuit main for the Fireworks division in Pure Stocks. Well, Scott Kokenauer on top, Dan Campbell, Mark Corden, Barry DeSelve, and Kevin Sanner.
Rounding out the top 5, good finish for all the drivers there. Back to victory lane. Another shot of Terminator 2 in his trophy. And hey, Mike, you know, it's time to move on. We're going to take a look at our 35-lap main coming up
Time to move
for
on.
our premier division, the Giant Auto Parts Purolator late models. But before we get to them, look at this beautiful pace car, this 1994 Chevy Camaro Z28. Mike, I understand they let you drive this car occasionally. I can't believe they let you in anything that nice.
Well, they do. Then I have to, the repossession truck follows me all over town.
Oh, I see.
Anyway, down the back straight, we're going to look at the top 3 rows. Lonnie Vaughn into Chrysler is on the inside of the first row. Outside of him, Ken Imler Jr., then Mark Catona, Robbie Marhefka. Boy, there's a lot of youth up there in those first 2 rows. Rick Miller and Glenn Galt. Galt really is the only crafty veteran out of those runners in the first 3 rows.
And we'll have to see if some of those younger pilots can kind of outfox Glenn as we bring this field up to speed. Ron Brett drops the green flag. Look at Lonnie Vaughn, like he shot out of the cannon, assuming that point position. Granted, it was up to him to start this contest, but boy, did he take advantage of it. Coming up behind him, though, the number 2 of Mark Catone out of the second row. Another sophomore pilot, much the same as Robbie Marhefka, who's running a 4th place right now. And this is the makings of a very interesting race, watching the field working their way through the turns. Again, Catone trying to work his way up toward Lonnie Vaughn. On the outside of him, the number 87 of Ken Imler Jr. from over in Blair County, also working well, but right now in command, it's Lonnie Vaughn.
That's a Chrysler product out front. 2 Ford Thunderbirds, then a Chevy Lumina. You know, you can go back 10, even as little as 5 years ago to 8 years ago, you never saw anything but a Chevy product in small short track racing because of the superior aspects of these short block Chevy engines. But now some of the other manufacturers are getting more competitive, and the Chrysler product, the Vaughn, is showing that they've got all the horsepower that anyone can handle out there. Speaking about handling, look at this. The 87 of Ken Emler Jr. has slid up high, and now Galt, the veteran we talked about, the American title in Trust 32, is diving to the low side. He's trying to grab a top 5 position, and Charging Charlie, Craig, and Barriotti, winners of twin 35-lap features for this division a few weeks back. They're side by side struggling for a top 10 position, but Galt is the one really fighting it out with this McDonald's of Duncansville and Evansburg, Ford Thunderbird of East Freedom, Pennsylvania's Ken Emler Jr.
Right now, Emler with just a slight hint of an advantage. Galt just can't quite seem to make that low groove work as well. Barriotti, number 75 car, trying to fill in right behind Emler as this field works its way down the back straight into turns 3 and 4. Emler now holding on to that position.
And I believe he's up to 4th at this point right now as Glenn Galt is running in the 5th place spot. And as they work down here, we're focusing on Craig, and momentarily now we jump back to this position for 2nd. There is the Integra Bank Ford Thunderbird, the black and gold number 2, in Keysport, Pennsylvania's Mark Catone. He continues holding the bridesmaid spot as the 99 of Robbie Marhefka closes in on him. And then we're back to Cragen. He keeps moving along.
It's just another day at the office. This is the way Cragen has been running his races week in and week out. He just picks his way through the field. He's by Galt now, and he's going to set his sights on Emler just ahead of him. The car, again, handling just about any groove he wishes to work on the track. But look at the big lead Lonnie Vaughn has. Here are our 2 sophomore pilots, Mark Catone and Robbie Marhefka, each with a lot of racing experience, but really not in this division. We watched Marhefka slide a little bit high out of the turn there. Catone managed to hold on to that advantage for 2nd place.
And as Mark Catone continues in a bridesmaid spot, Robbie Marhefka is a determined driver, Steve. He doesn't waste any time in trying to close back up. Speaking about determination,
here he comes.
Here's Charging Charlie Cragen. He dives to the low side on Ken Emler Jr. This is a battle for the 4th place spot in the Casa Fire Equipment. Scale and Clinic, Fighter Brothers prepared number 42, is on a roll and on the march up through this field. Into 3 and 4, he's already up to the 4th place position, setting his sights. Now we move ahead a few laps later. This is the battle for 3rd. Marhefka fades up high. Cragen becomes part of this action. There he begins to lurk on the back bumper of the BT Financial Corporation 99.
When you have that number 42 lurking on your back bumper, you can't afford any mistakes at all. And when we happen to see Marhefka wash out coming out of the turn there, that just really allowed Cragen to make up a lot of time. And he's right now looking as though he's going to be opting to work the high line. And look at this, down the back straight, like he shot out of a cannon, much the same Vaughn did at the beginning of the race, right past Marhefka, grooming that high line, the car sticking like glue out there.
And he makes that move. You know, Marhefka's known to come right back and try to challenge somebody just past him, but Cragen has assured that move. Now we move on in the event. This is a battle for 2nd, lap 21. And again, it's Charging Charlie Cragen marching up through the field. Now he begins his attack on the Integra Bank Ford Thunderbird of Mark Catone. Now, look, Catone washes there a little bit. I'm wondering when they see that red automobile in the rearview mirror, if it just might have a little bit of an intimidation factor. None of these drivers are tough cookies to pass, so to speak. But Mark Catone out here is fighting off Cragen. And watch when they dive into 1 and 2. Cragen is trying high and low in every position he can. Catone gets squirrely again, and here comes Cragen. Almost the same spot Marhefka did.
Much the same as what happened last week. These 2 cars battle for the lead, and Cragen won the race over Catone last week. Right now he's in 2nd place, but we're going to move ahead in the event. This is lap 28, battle for the lead. Cragen has managed to narrow the gap. Let's go to the call.
Cragen looks to the outside of Vaughn. Now he looks to dive low on Lonnie Vaughn down the back straight. Here comes Cragen to the low side of Vaughn. They dive into 3 and 4. Vaughn denies it to him, race fans. Lonnie Vaughn doesn't give it. Here comes Cragen again. He goes to the low side. Lonnie Vaughn with the Chrysler holds him off down the front straight. Into 1 and 2. Charging Charlie Cragen and Lonnie Vaughn battle it out. Look at Lonnie Vaughn deny Cragen it. Unbelievable down the back straight. Time is running out. Vaughn with the ride of his life. Cragen goes to the outside. Vaughn down the front straight denies it to him, race fans. Lonnie Vaughn with the drive of his life. Here comes Cragen again. Lonnie Vaughn doesn't give it. Now they're side by side, wheel to wheel. And Cragen, breaking in 3, gets by Vaughn with 5 laps remaining. Incredible racing, Steve, and a textbook pass by Cragen. Now we're going to go on. This is late in the event, and it's a 3-wide battle down the back straight. Kennedy gets together with the 21 of Dave James, and James does a high-speed painting of the outside retaining wall. Destroys that Oldsmobile automobile. Also involved with this, Chuck Kennedy limps into the pits, has a small oil fire. Very possible the oil line was broken on that automobile. But it's all for naught in the efforts to chase this leader, Charging Charlie Cragen. Lonnie Vaughn right there in the restart, closed up, but he falls short. Cragen has win number 8 in his commercial credit 35-lap main for the John Auto Parts Pure Later Late models.
Cragen firming up his lead not only in track points, but also in the Winston Racing Series Northeastern Division and the national races. Well, Vaughn gets that excellent 2nd place finish, followed by Audi in 3rd. Back to victory lane, Charging Charlie Cragen. Let's go to a race break.
This race break is brought to you by Chevrolet and your local Chevrolet Geo dealer.
the official vehicle of Jennerstown Speedway.
Well, you know, it's getting late in the season. There aren't that many weeks of regular racing left here at Jennerstown, or for that matter, in the Winston Racing Series. Last week on our race break, Mike Nelson talked about some of the points races as far as track points are concerned in all 4 divisions here at Jennerstown. Tonight, we thought you might like to know how things are going in the Winston Racing Series Northeastern Division. We actually have 5 drivers who call Western Pennsylvania tracks their home. Here's how it looks. It should come as no surprise to just about anybody who's been following racing here in Western Pennsylvania. Leading the top 10 positions in the Winston Racing Series Northeastern Division from Hopewell, Pennsylvania, Sergeant Charlie Cragen. He has 18 wins going into tonight's action here at Jennerstown, a total of 3,580 points. He's only 2 wins away from the perfect season. In second place from New England is Gerald Gravel with 3,361 points, but realistically he's far behind Cragen with only 7 wins. Barry Audie from Jennerstown running third with 3,295 points. James Zacharias Jr. from Tioga running a modified is in 4th place, and Glenn Galt in the Orange Blossom Special number 32 calling Jennerstown his home track is 5th. Rounding out the top 10, Mark Catone calling Motordrome his home track from McKeesport, Pennsylvania is running 6th. Robert Gahan, a Busch Grand National North driver, but also racing in a number of actions up in the New England area, is running 7th. Timothy Weaver from Holland Speedway, 8th. Steve Pellis, calling Jennerstown his home track, running 9th. And Mitch Wendell from Star Speedway rounds out the top 10. Again, we should point out, Sergeant Charlie Cragen, who's leading this list, does have a legitimate shot at the national championship this year. We'll have to keep close tabs on how he finishes the rest of the season.
This race break has been brought to you by Chevrolet and your local Chevrolet Geo dealer, the official vehicle of Jennerstown Speedway. Cruise into your local Chevrolet Geo dealer now for the all-new Camaro.
This is KAPZ News. I noticed its spaceship-like design.
I was strangely attracted to it.
I said, Vern, that is not a pizza.
Introducing the Pizza Hut Bowlie. Pizza toppings, cheese, and sauce in a mysteriously tasty crust. Now 1 Bowlie is $4.99. Bowlie, it's out of this world.
I believe it was brought here as a sign of peace.
Bowlie, reportedly seen in meaty, classic, and pepperoni mushroom varieties.
We're back with the Pro Stocks and a commercial credit 25 Circuit Main. Steve Areno, one little amendment to that race break you did. Of
What's
course,
that? What's that?
With this week's show, Cragen now bumps up his total to 19 wins in the Winston Racing Series. He actually has 20 overall, but one of those in Motordrome was preseason. Hey, here's the top 3 rows in the Pro Stocks as we look them over. Dave Hupp with a different paint job, 2nd week in a row with that white car instead of the familiar black car. And Bill Krause, Mike Heminger, Don Wyatt, Bob Arsenberger, Jerry Wisner as we get ready to go racing.
And also with us this week, back for the first time this season, Ron Delano Jr. Understand he's getting ready to run some of the special events toward the end of the season, getting the car tuned up. But right now the pace car pulls off the track, and it is Mr. Krause on the point position. Look at this traffic jam.
Into turns 1 and 2. Bill Krause takes off with the lead at 20. Dave Hupp holds on to the 2nd place position. Mike Hollywood Heminger hangs on to 3rd. Jerry Wisner in the 84, running in a 4th place spot. Dynamite Don Wyatt to the outside of him. Watch Denny Wigert and the 07 of Jeff Dunbar as they try to make their way up through the field. Bob Arsenberger putting in pressure. Here comes Ron Delano Jr. Delano's been outstanding in longer distance events and other races. Oh my goodness, did you see the shuffling in turn 1? Kessel, one of the faster cars, gets the worst of it. Oh, and look at that white car, purple. Well, it's off the screen. Larry Vahanna, he's had a lot of sheet metal or fiberglass lost in that car. Speaking of sheet metal and fiberglass, 87 of Butch Durkis spins and collects Duke McLaughlin. Beckwith Machinery Caterpillar number 8 Oldsmobile car. Damage to the right front of that automobile. Also, Chucky Kessler in a 91 getting involved with that. Now we move on, though. Back to racing. It's lap 14, and it's a battle for 4th. Here comes the 6-pack Shack and Sports Bar Camaro Body Port City chassis car Simcoe powered automobile Somerset, Pennsylvania's Jeff Dunbar. He moves up to, what is that, 4th place position here, Steve Reno. But here's the battle for the top 3.
And on the point position, Bill Krause continuing to hold off.
Hey, isn't that some
very
more
intense pursuit.
damaged fiberglass on these cars replaced?
We have more damaged fiberglass and sheet metal sometimes in this division. Of course, we can't really limit it to this division because we've bent some sheet metal and damaged some fiberglass in just about every division we have here. But a matter of fact, if you look at the inside, white entire fender to fender, bumper to bumper on Bill Krause's car coming down the back straight, the lead car, that's all replacement fiberglass. So that just, we do have a tendency to mesh the fiberglass together. He continues to hold the point position, but we're going to focus again on the number 7, powder blue, 07, Jeff Dunmire. Much the same as Charge and Charlie Craig in our previous race, the late model race, the other day at the office. He's just picking his way through traffic, working his way up to the point position. One of the reasons why he is the dominant driver in this division year in and year out, at least for the last 2 years.
It's incredible that the irony of this thing is that he is a backup driver for the Cragen crew and often runs his backup car in the John Auto Parts Pure Later late model events. Well, watch this. Dunmire goes down the back straight. He makes things interesting, pressuring Hemminger's automobile. Here's the call. Mike Hemminger, the Boswell, Pennsylvania pilot, in his 6th ever Pro Stock event. Continues, holding on to third. Now he looks to the low side of Hump's automobile. Hump went up high. The North Star Equipment 72 dives to the low side. The battle for the second. Hollywood Hemminger in his 6th race in a Pro Stock, trying to go for second. Breaks through for the position. Here comes Hump back up on him. They work out a 4th. Dunmire stays with Hemminger, thinks that's the line through. Hemminger gets through. He's up to second. Krause continues with the lead. Now Jeff Dunmire trying to break through. Hemminger right there. Can he close in on Krause? Jeff Dunmire able to break through for 3rd. We've got 5 laps remaining this time around.
As Dunmire continues his advance, we advance on. 2 laps to go. Dunmire has worked his way past Mike Hemminger, now setting his sights on the number 25. Our leader, Bill Krause, out of Somerset, Pennsylvania, as they come out of turn 4. White flag lap. Let's take it to one last live call.
Dunmire sets up to the low side on Krause. We dive into 1 and 2. It's Krause and Dunmire, fender to fender. Dunmire breaks a look at Hemminger. Hemminger sneaks by on the last lap. Down the back straightaway. Jeff Dunmire through 3 and 4. This time, it'll be Dunmire to pick up the checker and Hemminger with a surprise 2nd place finish. Dunmire, like Cragen, on a roll. This is win number 7 for him in Victory Lane in this commercial credit event. Gee, is that a long enough banner there, Steve?
I think we need a wider screen. We need widescreen TV here. Here's a look at our top 5. Dunmire with the win, as you said, number 7. Mike Hemminger, the surprise 2nd place finish, followed Dunmire through on the pass of Bill Krause, who takes 3rd, followed by Hulp and Wisner, top 5. And let's go back to that long banner show. Oh, this is a short banner. What happened to that banner?
The flying Sunday school teacher finished 5th.
Oh, what did I say?
Well, Jerry Wisner's a flying Sunday school teacher.
Oh, I thought maybe I said somebody else finished.
Neat, he's a truck driver. Well, hey, anyway, it's on to our Thunder and Lightning division.
He drives a race car pretty good, too.
Yeah. The Riverside Bilo Street Stock, Steve. And as we post off the first 3 rows, we'll deli our way down the back straight and get into this event.
Tony Hirsch, Barry Gary on the front. Front row, Yvette Hahn, Mark Berkey, Brian Audie, and Marty Edwards. I personally guarantee it, Marty Edwards. Back in the 3rd row, and these guys perform, I can't say guys and gals perform a great show.
Week in and week out. Oh, Barry Gary has problems coming up the speed, and it's Tony Hirsch who takes off with the lead as a thundering herd sounding like a flock of B-28s dives into turns 1 and 2. Well, Hirsch has the point position. Barry Gary fighting it out with Yvette Hahn down the back straightaway. Brian Audie, not sure where to go. The 73 Mark Berkey goes up high. Yvette Hahn on the low side gets the worst of it. That angle or that position not moving for her, and we're all over the racing surface. Look at this down the front straightaway. Oh, in turn 1 and 2, the traditional flock of automobiles in the Riverside Bilo Street Stock. So look at them take those different lines back there, Steve. You know what? I think anybody that ever learns to drive should run 1 race in this division. To pass a driver's test, look at that. Marty Edwards all crossed up trying to get through traffic. They are not bashful about trading the first coat of wax, paint, or bending a sheet metal fender or 2 here or there as Marty Edwards continues moving up through the field down the back straight.
Barry Gary in the number 9 car having his problems as all that traffic is stacked up behind him right now. Mark Berkey working the low line, and he's going to make the pass on Gary. Quickly following him, we have Brian as opposed to Barry Audi, which I know a certain track announcer likes to get those brothers mixed up, but no.
Hey.
And here comes Sean the Bulletin. He's working the high line in that flock of cars as they try and advance their way up toward the point position, too.
Hey, let's move on a few laps later and exit Steve's commentary here as we look at the 97 of Tony Hirsch. He's the leader from Bakersville and that Ford product, but here comes Jeanette, Pennsylvania's Marty Edwards in the La Nature Sparkling Water Monte Carlo automobile. He'll work to the outside and make the pass for the point position. Now, you remember a few weeks back, Marty Edwards was in a situation to capture his first career event in this division, but because of some confusion on his part, slowed down before the end of the event. And speaking about that, we're going to move on. Now it's the last lap, and Mark Berkey's trying to close in on Marty Edwards' automobile, but he's shooting for that first career win. But this time he knows that the checkered flag's coming out, so he'll dirt track the car around some lapped automobiles, Dusty Rhodes' car, and as he does that, he takes the checkered career win #1 in this division from the driver from Jeanette.
And didn't notice the hand coming up for the wave to the crowd. Maybe he's figured I did that a couple of weeks ago, so that will suit for tonight. Back to our
He's a
commercial.
little confused where to look here, though.
Commercial credit presentation.
There
The
he
20th
is.
lap main for up here, Marty. That's right. This is the camera up here. 20 lap main for the Riverside Bilo Street Stocks. Marty with the win. Mark Berkey has to settle for second, followed by Brian Audi, Tony Hirsch, and Dave Wilt from Duncansville, Pennsylvania.
And as we go back into Victory Lane with Marty Edwards, want to remind everybody, Chase to the Checkered will continue next week with more racing action. But stay tuned after these words. We're going to come back with some words of wisdom of how you can save some money at
I love to
Jennerstown.
save money. I love to save money.
You do?
Yeah,
Well, stay tuned.
You're telling me all about it.
Saturday, it's twin 35s for the John Auto Parts Pure Later late models at Jennerstown Speedway. See 2 late model features for the price of 1, plus a complete NASCAR Winston Racing Series program for Pro Stocks, Riverside Bilo Street Stocks, and Pure Stocks. Gates open at 4, late model time trials at 6:30, and racing at 7 p.m. See our Chevrolet official vehicle